All right, guys, we got a lot to get to with the Diddy case. Election's coming up in less than 2 weeks, and now we have Dirk Banks, aka Lil Durk, arrested on 10/24, 26 today. So we're gonna jump on Lil Durk real quick today, and then we'll go back to other topics here in a minute. But getting into this, this came as a big surprise because up until now, Dirk's been talking about getting out of the street life, changing life around, going to therapy, disconnecting from the streets, and all of a sudden, boom, now he has a murder for hire charge. He was picked up in Florida. It's not a RICO yet, but the way the indictment read, it seems like they're setting it up. There may be a superseding indictment coming in a couple of days once he gets back to California, because that's where this alleged murder for hire happened. They're connecting this to the Quando Rondo incident where somebody was killed, and they're saying Dirk's the one that ordered that hit. So we're going to look at some of the headlines, talk about that, and then I also want to talk about the Trump interview with Rogan if we have time for that. Throat's a little sore, but we're going to go through it. Okay, so this whole story stems from, if you remember back in 2020, King Von was murdered in Atlanta. This was in a shootout, and a stray bullet hit him. I don't know if they were targeting him directly, but a stray bullet hit him. He had gotten into a fist fight with Quando Rondo's crew, and a stray bullet hit him. He died, I think, on the way or dead on the scene. Okay, so fast forward 4 years later, Lil Durk's arrested, right? So what happened between then and now? Because that's really in the span of 4 years how the story unravels. So first off, what he's accused of, Durk put out a bounty on the life of another rapper, identified only as TB, prosecutors as retaliation for the 2020 killing of the rapper of King Von. Member of the hip-hop collective Only the Family, which Lil Durk founded according to federal criminal complaint filed in the U.S. District Court for the Central District of California. FBI affidavit also says that Lil Durk has been booked on at least 3 international flights that were leaving on Thursday. So one thing that stands out in this arrest is that it doesn't seem like the FBI really had what they were looking for to arrest him, right? I think they were trying to get as much dirt on him as possible because they could have technically arrested him in 2021, 2022, but why right now? I think when they see this happening, international flights leaving for the UAE, Italy, he was going to go to Italy and Switzerland. They're saying it was an attempt to flee. Now, was it really an attempt to flee, or was he traveling for business or for purposes of his music career, right? They're saying he was trying to flee. Lil Durk, 32, whose legal name is Dirk Banks, appeared in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of Florida on Friday. He remained in federal custody and was expected to be arraigned in L.A. in the coming weeks, according to prosecutors. He was charged with a conspiracy to use interstate facilities to commit murder for hire resulting in death. So resulting in death, someone did die, right? So after the King Von shooting, after King Von died, nobody did anything. They knew who it was. Only the Family, that's Lil Durk's collective, knew who did it, but they sat silent for years, for 4 years to be exact. And if anyone is a fan of Durk or listens to his music, you know that they throw hints, they throw subliminal messages, sometimes not so subliminal, sometimes direct to the people that they're feuding with. And they did that, but they never actually took any action. So what ends up happening is Quando Rondo is in, I think, a music studio, and Lil Durk gets word of this, and he goes and tries to track them down through his associates. They missed him the first time. They couldn't find him. And then the second time, they did. And I think they shot up a vehicle that Quando Rondo was in, and a stray bullet hit one of his cousins or one of his associates, and that guy ended up dying. So the murder for hire plot was planned after King Von was killed. That's what we're talking about. Okay, so an associate of TB was charged with the murder in King Von's killing, but the charges against him were dropped. Okay, did not know that. If we look at this part here, on August 19, 2022, the hitman opened fire on TB, unloading at least 18 rounds in his vehicle near a gas station close to West Hollywood. So 18 rounds shot at Quando Rondo's vehicle. He was uninjured, but a family member of his was killed. So I guess it was his cousin. And there's a video on YouTube, if anyone can find it. Quando Rondo's like crying. He's yelling in the middle of the street. It's like broad daylight, visibly upset, right? Knowing that this person had passed. I think he was dead on the scene. News release on Friday, Martin Estrada, U.S. Attorney for Central District of California, said that Durk has orchestrated cold-blooded murder. It's crazy because, this is a man who got the key to the city for Chicago 2 times, gave $150,000 to the mayor, to the city of Chicago, deeply involved with Chicago native, whether it was, for the good or for the bad. Either way, he was involved in, from what I guess is publicized nowadays, the greater part of his involvement in Chicago is for the good, right? He gave $150,000 donation to the city to improve, or I guess help with, to aid low-income housing, free lunch for school kids. So, he is doing some good. He did want to make a difference in the community, and he also verbally, explicitly stated that he wants to disconnect or disattach from the street life because it's a dead end, right? So in the past year or two, it seems like Durk's been making a change, but the past always catches up with you. And in this case, the law caught up with him. So what are the implications, right? People always want to know the, I guess, consequences of these types of things. When you have a murder for hire, guys, it's the same thing as pretty much murdering somebody, right? They don't make a distinction between, you just, made a contract for a hit, or you were the one actually pulling the trigger, right? That's what a conspiracy is, right? It's a conspiracy amongst all members and affiliates of an organization to carry out a crime. If you went and robbed a bank and somebody was a lookout, they're just as guilty as you. So with this type of crime, Durk's looking at life. That's what it is. LA, they can actually give you the death penalty for this, but I don't think they're going to pursue that. I think they're going to go for, a 30 to life type of sentence if found guilty. What doesn't make it better is allegedly there's already been reports of Durk's people. Again, it doesn't have to be Durk directly because Durk's not the one that went out and killed somebody, but his people are already reaching out to potential witnesses. If you read the indictment, they have 3, I think they call them conspirators. They have 3 conspirators. They name 2 of them, one being Durk, and the third one they leave blank. They don't mention his name. They're thinking that is the person cooperating with law enforcement. So, sorry guys, throat hurts, head hurts. I'm ramming through this though because this is breaking. This just happened. So we're a little late to the party. This happened on the 24th. It's the 26th now. I did cover this on the Hosseini Pod TikTok, but we had to make a video for this, and I can't wait to get better. So we just got to jump into it and do it. But either way, 3 conspirators, one of them being Durk, named, other person's named, third person is not. That's the person that supposedly is cooperating. And when you have reports, guys, are coming out that the main conspirator, the defendant in a crime, is reaching out through his associates to the cooperator, that's not good. They're going to use that in court, and they can track this stuff. They can follow it. They have phone records. They have a phone record of Durk texting his associate saying, "Do not let anybody use my name when booking flights." This was going back to that Quando Rondo incident, right? He didn't want them to mention his name on it. Why is that? So, a lot of questions that are going to be answered here. I can't really think of defense right now because I want to read the full indictment with y'all and go through it. But obviously, the biggest thing is going to be, hey, the cooperator who's alleging that I, Dirk, put out a murder for hire. Well, this guy's upset, right? He didn't get a record deal. He didn't blow up the way he was promised. By the way, in the background, you see that black Escalade. That's Quando Rondo's Escalade. That's the one that they shot up. So, yeah, that's the one they shot up. Um, yeah, some more photos. There you go. 18 rounds, guys. 18 rounds found on the scene of the crime. Um, One of the guys had a switch, which is an illegal modification made to a firearm. Can't do that. So I'm surprised that there were 18 rounds. You would think there are 50 rounds, right? With the amount of people and guns involved. Going back to cooperator, right? So when you have a cooperator, the defense may say, hey, there's no evidence, right? Are there any text messages, any direct communications of Dirk saying, hey, I want to hit out on this guy? If the answer is yes, then you're fucked. If the answer is no, then what's really going on, right? Well, this guy's upset he didn't get a record deal. This guy's upset that he didn't make as much money as he thought he would, right? This guy's got into a little bit of trouble, unbeknownst to us, to Lil Durk, and he's putting the blame on Lil Durk because he doesn't want to catch a case, right? So that may be a defense, but they're going to have to prove that, okay? So again, just a quick vid right now on this one, trying to figure out what's coming in, what the status is right now. Dirk does have to fly back to LA. There may be a superseding indictment. There may be a RICO indictment, but we haven't seen that yet. But more to come. Okay. So we're going to keep up on this. And the other thing that sucks is this guy was actually a successful musician, right? It wasn't like, oh, he's just a trap rapper. Didn't really do anything. He did Grammy award-winning type of work. He was on a couple of Drake songs. So he's got accolades, highly successful.